Of an indication as to how far I've actually come, thanks to Toastmasters. The very first speech I ever gave at Toastmasters, I had every single word written out on 2 pieces of A4 paper, and I stood in front of the lectern and read the whole speech, word for word, without looking up once at the audience. It's nice to know that even someone like me can actually improve and become a better speaker. But really, what I want to do tonight, to begin with, is to give you 2 very different types of presentations. Here's the first one. This is the old Darrell. Now, this is from the children's book by Dr. Seuss, Oh, the Places You'll Go. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places, you're off and away. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, but you know what you know, and you are the one who'll decide where to go. So, that was the old Darrell. The other way of giving that presentation is something like this. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places, you're off and away. You've got brains in your head and feet in your shoes, and you can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, but you know what you know, and you are the one who'll decide where to go. So there, you have exactly the same material, but 2 very different types of presentations. And I'm sure you'll agree, the second presentation was a little more dynamic than the first presentation. And today what I want to do is go through what I think are the 7 dynamic keys to presenting. The first of them is body language. Body language is actually fairly simple in the respect that I feel that mostly the default position when presenting a speech should be hands at the side. That's the default position. Now, when you want to make a point, then you can raise a hand. We can raise both hands, but the default position will be hands by the side. And that way, it adds more to the dynamic presentation of what it is that you're doing. Because it means that you're going from a fairly non-committal position to a much more powerful position when you want to add intensity to your presentation. The second point I want to talk about is vocal projection. Vocal projection in a room like this is really not too much of an issue, but it's very possible that you could be giving a presentation somewhere where you have no microphone and you have to speak to an audience in a room that's 4 or 5 times as large as this. And the thing to keep in mind there is what you want to do is breathe deeply, get air into your lungs, and then activate these muscles right here in the sternum. So it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Or as the case may be, congratulations! And imagine your voice going up through here, out through the mouth, the right turn that occurs here in the throat, and all the way to the back of the room. The third point I want to cover is vocal variety. And vocal variety is really everything from a voice starting very softly, so you might be using a stage whisper for the audience, or very loudly when you want to exert your authority. Or you might be really good at accents. I'm not. Ravi, are you good at accents? Accents are not one of my strong points. But vocal variety, like I say, this is dynamic speaking, meaning variety, meaning a dynamic range from one end of the scale to the other. The fourth point I want to cover tonight is pausing, the power of the pause. Like I just did then. You see how we can make a point, and when it's a really important point, we emphasise it by saying nothing at all. And that way, those words are still left ringing in the audience's mind. The fifth point I want to cover tonight is the stage and using the stage. This is, like I said before, this is a small area, but you might be speaking in areas that are 2 times, 3 times, 4 times as large. Let's just imagine that we have 100 people sitting in an audience here. We want to make every single one of those people feel that they are included in your presentation. So rather than just standing here in the middle of the stage, one technique we could use is we start over here and make a particular point, and then keeping eye contact with the audience. We don't want to... What we want to do is, I'm now making my point. Now I want to make my second point. And now I want to make my third point. So this whole stage area is our area to play in as you see fit. If you do end up joining Toastmasters, I have seen some truly amazing things happen where people have made use of this stage area. This whole area belongs to you. The sixth point I want to cover this evening is eye contact. Eye contact, if you recall when I first started public speaking and my eyes were focused completely, in fact holding onto the lectern for support because I thought I might fall over because my knees were shaking so badly and the butterflies in my stomach were threatening to revolt. My eyes were completely here. Eye contact, for some reason, is difficult when we first start out public speaking, but it doesn't have to be. Even in a room like this, let's just say it's even a larger audience, what we want to do is give equal eye contact to the whole audience. But you might find that to be daunting. So what you can do is just look a little over the people's heads, or a neutral point in between the people. And people will assume that you're looking directly at them. And you're not quite, but because it's a large audience, they don't know. And the seventh point I want to cover in relation to dynamic public speaking is that of memorising your speech. As you can appreciate, if you can deliver a speech without notes, it makes for such a powerful presentation. It elevates your presentation to a whole new area. Now, I'm not saying that you can necessarily give every single speech without notes. Maybe you can. But I want to teach you a very simple technique tonight so that you can deliver many, many speeches without the use of any notes. So what I might do here is we could take one of these each and just could you pass them on? There's just a couple there, if you could pass one to the next person. Now you're probably looking at this page, and up to this point we're thinking, oh, Darrell sort of sounds like he knows what he's talking about. You've looked at this page and thought, Darrell has flipped his lid. What on earth is going on with this guy? The good news is that memory systems date back to the ancient Greeks and Romans. They date back more than 2,000 years. And there are many, many different ways and many different types of memory systems that people have used throughout the ages. This one I'm going to go through with you tonight is just a very, very simple one that you can use to memorise your shopping or memorise the main points of a speech. So, it's obviously a number rhyming system. And you'll have to bear with me for a moment to let all of this sink in. As you can see, I've got here 1 rhymes with bun, 2 with shoe, 3 with tree. All the way down to the number 10, which is hen. The best way to help remember something, think of it this way. It's not very easy to remember boring incidents in your life, is it? But think of a really exciting incident in your life, or a really traumatic incident. a really happy or sad incident. Because they're outstanding, they stay out in the mind, don't they? So, when we talk about one bang bun, that bun is not just any old bun. Now, I'm not talking bottoms here. It's not just any old bun. Although, rude things does help the memory. One is bun. Think of a bun that's the size of a Volkswagen car. And it's big, beautiful, looks fantastic. You can almost feel yourself salivating at the thought of eating that bun. It's smothered in cream and there are lashings of strawberry jam in the centre of it. So, you do that with bun. 2 is shoe. The sort of shoe I imagine is a really big shoe about the size of this table. It's a man's shoe, very shiny, laces. A woman might imagine one very differently. Probably one of those high heel jobs that are impossible to walk around in. And you do that with those numbers 1 to 10. Now, once you learn that, that's actually the hard work done. Because what you then do is, when need be, you peg a memory to each of those items. For example, the presentation I gave here tonight, 1 is bun. So I imagined a body sticking into the cream of that bun. Body as in body language. 2 is shoe. So I thought of my shoe with a microphone sticking out. Vocal projection. 3 is tree. I thought of a tree covered in mouths. Vocal variety. 4 is door. I thought of a door slamming shut and paws reaching around to stop it from slamming shut. Pause for effect. 5 is hive. I thought of someone at one end of the stage getting a beehive and kicking it across to the other side. 6 is sticks. I thought of a stick poking someone in the eye contact. And 7 is heaven. I thought of heavenly clouds and a brain representing memory bouncing across the top of those clouds. Now, there are these memory systems that go up to literally the number 10,000. This is how people are able to do these amazing feats of memory where they can remember the value of pi to 10,000 places. So this, and also you can amaze your friends by saying, oh no, we don't need to write down a shopping list. You just memorise it. And to really stun them, you can do things like, well, number 5, is hive, and I thought of putting the beehive across the stage. 2, shoe, vocal projection. 7, Kevin, memory. 1, bun, that's right, body language. So, and you can do them backwards, frontwards, whichever way you want. Before you know it, you'll be down at that casino down there counting cards. And you'll be saying, it's all Darrell's fault. I would never have done this if you hadn't got me that damn memory system. This is a very, very simple one. But as you can imagine, if you're giving a presentation with material that you know reasonably well, if you've been able to boil that material down to, say, 10 bullet points, you don't even need those bullet points. You can just have it all stored up here. And if you are worried that you might forget, that's absolutely fine. Have your bullet points sitting over here anyway to one side. If you find that you get really lost, you can still refer to them. So, how can I finish off? The only way I can finish this off is to say, congratulations, today is your day. I know you're all off to great places. You're now off and away.